Welcome back to Chasing Shadows. I'm your host, Mark Miners. Tonight, we're diving into the crimson veins of the eternal night. That's right, we're talking about vampires all night. The night's thirsty. Throw on your headphones, grab some garlic, and sharpen your stakes. Let's hunt. Vampires clawed their way out of raw, plague-ravaged terror in 18th century Eastern Europe. Imagine the 1720s, Serbian countryside. Fields of the dying, air thick with rot. Bodies bloat unnaturally in shallow graves. Blood seeps from mouths. Panicked villagers dig up their loved ones, convinced the dead are feeding on the living to spread the curse. They drive stakes through hearts, stuff mouths with garlic and bricks, anything to silence the risen. Enter Arnold Paole, the haymaker who became legend. A sturdy farmer killed in a horseback tumble. Paole returns under moonlight. First, he drains livestock dry. Then, neighbors wake with puncture wounds, wasting away. Austrian military officials investigate. They exhume him. Skin pliable, nails grown long. Blood fresh and liquid in veins long cold. Over 40 more vampires unearthed and staked in one frenzied outbreak. Entire villages torched to end the cycle. From Greece's Vrykolakas, swollen ghouls rising at Easter, to Bulgarian's vampire, with nails piercing coffin lids like claws. Plague pits overflowed with mutilated corpses, mouths crammed to halt imagined bites. The dead weren't just resting, they were rising. And in the shadows, something watched, hungering. The graves of folklore cracked wider in the neon glow of the 20th century. Flashed to foggy London in 1970. Highgate Cemetery, a Victorian bone orchard turned hunting ground. Reports pour in. A tall, dark figure with hypnotic eyes and a cape-like raven wings. It drains animals first, then lurks near graves, leaving victims pale and listless. Rival occultists David Ferrant and Sean Manchester lead midnight vigils. Ferrant snaps photos of orbs dancing in the mist. Manchester claims a brutal stake-through-the-heart clash with the beast. Dozens of eyewitnesses described cold spots that freeze breath, shadows that whisper names. Across the Atlantic, the 1980s unleashed vampire cults. Teens in black robes performing ritual drainings for power. The 1996 Wisconsin vampire murders sear the headlines. High schoolers exhume a classmate's body under a full moon, sipping her blood in a desperate bid for immortality. Today, the subcultures thrive in the underbelly. Sanguinarians gather in dimly lit parlors, trading vials of donated blood like sacred chalices, small sips to quell an inexplicable hunger. Energy vampires, or psychics, leech life force through stares or touch, leaving crowds drained at raves. Conspiracy threads weave darker, though. Elite blood-drinking cabals. Whispers of adrenochrome harvested in shadowed mansions. Cryonics labs freezing the powerful for a vampiric reboot. In October, blood moons ignite it all. Harvest festivals where sightings spike, full orbs painting the sky like spilled veins. The undead evolve, one pulse at a time. I recently talked with someone who is very familiar with the entire thing, and he said, I ran the scene for years. Underground feeds in derelict churches, the air turning thick as congealed blood. One ritual, the candles guttered, ice wind from nowhere. Something latched on, not one of us. It pulled my will like thread from a vein. I ran into the rain, but the dreams, pale faces at my window, fangs glinting. It's out there, waiting for me. Those words linger like a bite mark. From crumbling crypts to encrypted forums, the undead adapt. Vampire traits run deep, shapeshifting into bats or wolves under the moon's pool, fangs bared in the eternal night. Sunlight's deadly kiss scorches the undead. Modern seekers turn to medical leeches for controlled bloodletting, easing the thirst. Immortality hooks deepest. Medieval alchemists boiled blood in cauldrons for elixirs of youth. Today, gene editing labs splice harvested plasma to rewind aging clocks. Whispers of black market serums from the ultra-rich. You know what would be really scary, though? A world where the elite sip eternity from commoners' veins. Folklore allures you with holy water that burns unholy flesh. Gaze in mirrors at midnight. Legends say the soulless cast no reflection. Test it, if you dare. The eternal night doesn't knock, it enters. No chase is complete without their grandest stage, the silver screen and page. Vampires thrive, morphing into icons of forbidden allure. Let's fang our way through the famous bloodlines that keep the legend pulsing. First, the granddaddy, Count Dracula, Bram Stoker's 1897 aristocrat of the night, inspired by the brutal Vlad III. Dracula the Impaler, 15th century Wallachian warlord who spiked Ottoman heads like shish kebabs. With Transylvanian castles, hypnotic gaze, thirst for more than wine. Carmilla, Sheridan Le Fanu's 1872 seductress, a shadowy noblewoman preying on innocence in Syria. The blueprint for eternal temptation, all lace and longing. Then, the rat-faced terror, Count Orlok, from 1922's Nosferatu. F.W. Murnau's ghoul slinking from plague ships, shadow stretching like claws, pure nightmares. Bela Lugosi's velvet-voiced Dracula in Todd Browning's 1931 classic. Cape swirling, eyes smoldering, it codified the suave predator. Anne Rice's 1976 Interview with a Vampire. Lewis and Lestat, brooding immortals in New Orleans' jazz-drenched shadows. Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt's 1994 adaptation drips with gothic excess. Kirsten Dunst as feral Claudia. The 1980s rock with the Lost Boys. Surf punk vamps terrorizing Santa Clara's boardwalk. Stephenie Meyer's Twilight saga turns Edward Cullen into a brooding dream. 5 films, billions grossed. Taika Waititi's What We Do in the Shadows mocks the mundane. Flatmates bickering over blood types and werewolf rivals. These fangs bite deep into culture, grossing over $5 billion worldwide. Recent polls capture the pulse. A 2021 YouGov survey found that 8% of Americans believe vampires walk among us, with millions more hooked on the eternal allure. Pop culture evangelizes, turning tall tales into midnight obsessions. So the next time you binge True Blood and you feel a chill, will you stop to think, are you really alone? Well, that's the episode for tonight. Don't forget to give it a like, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button. And remember, the shadows thirst, stay vigilant, or succumb to the night.